To the Untitled Tarot. We're doing a bit of an impromptu live stream. I have some downloads, I have some things, some messages I need to get out to you guys. So I'm gonna do that. I even have notes. I have notes. Very unusual for me, but I'm gonna give it a couple minutes and see if any of the bees pop in. Just give it like a minute. Most of you guys will probably watch this on the replay because it's a Sunday, so you guys are like living your best lives, which is what I like to see. Let's see, a couple updates. Do I have any updates? Taurus, happy birthday, Taurus. Your full monthly reading went up yesterday. That's live. The rest of the monthly readings for May, happy May everybody, are uploaded over on the Patreon. So for those of you who are on the Bumblebee tier on the Patreon, all of your monthly readings are up. For those of you that are interested in the Patreon, the Bumblebee tier has all of the monthly readings for all of the zodiac signs, and it gives you access to the Honeybee tier, which has all of the extended readings for all of the weekly zodiac readings I do on the channel. So that is very exciting. Any more updates? Let's see. You can tell this is like impromptu for me. Hi, Amy. Hi, how are you? A few of you have been asking me about Vimeo. For those of you that have been asking, I am going to be setting up a Vimeo in the next few days, especially for the subscribers that are in India. You guys are having a hard time accessing the Patreon, so within the next few days I will have Vimeo set up so the extended readings will be able to be rented on there if you don't want to sign up for the Patreon. And I'm also going to put all of the monthly readings on Vimeo. For those of you that don't want to sign up for the whole tier, you just want your monthly reading, you're going to be able to get that. So give me a couple days to like get that set up. There's like moving parts around me all the time, so we're trying to get ourselves in gear. Trying to get myself in gear. For any of you guys that ordered personal readings this weekend, you should have your readings done by tomorrow. Usually I open up my schedule for personal readings on Sundays, so if you are interested in a personal reading, I do 30-minute readings, I do 60-minute readings, and I just started offering monthly forecasts, like your own personal monthly forecast, where we go through all 4 weeks of the month, plus the new moon, plus the full moon. That is in my kind of private reading cachet now, so the information for that will be in the description box. Scheduling's open now for the week, so if you're interested in that, make sure you message me on Instagram or you send me an email, UntitledTarot@gmail.com, and see what's going on with that. Let's see. All right, just relax. Some of these downloads, most of them are fine, but I do have updates on the divine masculine and the divine feminine energy, which you guys know is like not normally my bag of tricks. It's not normally what I talk about. That's not the journey that I really tune in on. So, you know, to be honest, I've had the downloads about the divine masculine and feminine, I don't know, maybe for like a week, maybe for the better part of a week, and I was sitting on them for a little while because it's good when you get downloads and you get messages to kind of sit on them, make sure you get confirmation, make sure it's stuff that's for everyone that you're supposed to be sharing like in the right time. But again, it's not normally my bag of tricks. So I was kind of sitting on it like a little bit, so I was a bit remiss for that. So I apologize. I repented. You know, I don't want to keep messages from anyone if they're meant to be, you know, I have to get over my own thing about that. So, all right, let's see. We got Amy in the house. We got a few people on there. Most of you are going to watch it on the replay. That's okay. You go pawn the replay. So I have like 3 little pages. I don't know how long we're going to be here. Probably not that long, but alas. Let's see. Which order? I guess we'll get the big one out first. All right. Hi, Founders of Light. How are you? I hope you're doing good. Happy Sunday or Monday. I don't know where you are, but I hope you're having a fabulous day. So, all right. Be with us, Lord. So, divine feminine, divine masculine energies. I started pulling in these downloads about a week ago during my music meditations, doing the shufflemancy. For those of you that don't know about the shufflemancy, it is a form of communication with spirit. I have a playlist on my channel I have a bunch of vaults There's a vault shufflemancy. It's public, so if you want to do music, meditation, and communication with them through song, it's open and available for you to use. And they kept playing me this song by The Used, which I hadn't heard since probably I was in middle school, like early high school, and it's called Blue and Yellow. It's actually a really quite delightful song, but that really stuck out to me, Blue and Yellow, Blue and Yellow. And as I listened to the song, it really felt very representative of the Divine Masculine and Divine Feminine collectives. Now, this obviously relates to kind of counterpart energy. I relate them as ships. I did a video in the Starseed Chronicles, I believe it is, called Soul Biosis, the science of soulmates. And I relate counterpart energies to ships more than flames, because it's not really a narrative that really resonates with me. So obviously this has to do with kind of counterpart, dual ship sort of energy, but it also relates to the divine feminine and masculine energies within you, coming into union with both sides of your energy forces. Taste of Ink has been coming through for you. Yeah, they're playing The Used a lot, The Used. You know, and there might be something in that as well, that a lot of us feel almost like we've been used, or we're used up, or we're used goods, a lack of a self-love, worth, right? Feeling deserving of a restart, a do-over, a second act per se. Hi Jelly Bean, how are you? So they were going back and forth with this Blue and Yellow song, Blue and Yellow song. They kept playing for me consistently. And they really divided those colors, right, as representatives of the two collectives. So blue really resonated with the divine masculine collective for me, with yellow really being indicative of the divine feminine collective. So the blue for divine masculine energies. A lot of the divine masculines, they are awake. They're awake. They're feeling a little groggy. It's the idea of when you almost, okay, this other giving to me. When you are like going on a trip, you ever take like a road trip as a kid and you fall asleep in the back seat, and when you wake up you're in a totally different place, and you feel like a little bit disoriented, like where am I? That's kind of where the divine masculine energy is, right? Like they are awake, but they are coming into the truth of what that awakening means for them, right? They're adjusting, kind of wiping the sleep out of their eyes. They're really trying to integrate the new reality into themselves, into their mindsets, because this is a different way of thinking. This is a different way of being and operating. It's a different way of looking at themselves and the world, right? It's like realizing that you're a little bit in a simulation, and they accept it, but it's a lot to adjust to. You have to remember, as divine feminines, what it was like for you when you first woke up, because the divine masculines are going through right now what you most likely went through between a year and a half ago and 3 years ago, right? So you got to give them a little bit of a break, because a lot of what they're realizing right now is that society as a whole has kind of disconnected them from their own truth, about who they are, what they are, where they are, and also their personal expression as well. And again, it's like waking up in the back seat of a car when you're on a road trip and you're not really sure where you are, and they're looking for kind of like a safe place, and they're looking for safe spaces where they can kind of explore this truth, right, and adjust to it, and get used to it in a way that they don't feel like they're crazy, because a lot of them feel a little bit like they're crazy, and they don't know what all this new information and all this new self-actualization means for them, right? So it's like they need like a little bit of nurturing. They need a bit of a gentler touch right now. They're tapping into their own feminine energies for the first time in a long time, learning in a lot of ways how to self-soothe and how to reparent themselves, and kind of deconstruct all of the narratives that through family structures, through society, that they've kind of been taught. And they're a little bit sensitive right now. That's why some of them might be a little MIA, because they're also really kind of resistant against any kind of energies that are trying to keep them sort of bound or chained to this social normative construct of what masculinity means for them. They're really breaking down, deconstructing the idea of what is masculine energy, right? Because society tells them that it's one thing, right? You can't express your emotions, you can't show vulnerability, because that's not strength, that's not masculine, that emits weakness. You can't be weak, right? It's that kind of thing. And now as they're fully awakened, right, but really adjusting to it, almost like a newborn, they're trying to figure out, okay, well, where do I go from here? And that's a really scary place. And then meanwhile, you have the divine feminine, right? You have the divine feminine connection, or collective, and they've been woke. Divine Feminine's walking around with like purses full of abundance and blessings, and they're connecting to, you know, higher dimensional beings, and they're meditating, they're astral projecting, and they're pulling in channeled messages, right? It's intimidating. It's really intimidating for the Divine Masculine, which is why they may be a little MIA from a lot of the feminine collective, because the Divine Feminine collective is so intimidating right now that it doesn't feel like a safe space. It feels like they may be judged, right, for not being as ascendant or as woke or as spiritual, right? They're still developing their internal hierophant, right? The structure and the organization of their spirituality, and how they fit that into the rest of their experience as a person, right? They're a little freaked out, and the Divine Feminine energy right now is, to be honest, is not a really soothing place for them. It's intimidating if they feel a little standoffish, and the standards and the boundaries and everything are so high, and they're so intense, right? Not that you shouldn't have standards and boundaries. Of course you should. That's part of self-love and self-worth. But it's to the extent that it's just a little too intense. Again, the Divine Masculine energy really needs like a little bit of TLC. They really need that nurturing energy. And so there is a bit of a divide there. I'm not going to lie. So moving into the Divine Feminine energy, out of that blue and yellow youth song, we go into yellow, right? What is yellow? Very similar to Divine Masculine with the blue, talking about the throat chakra, their personal expression, right? The Divine Feminine energies are really working on their solar plexus. They're really building up their confidence right now. They don't think that they're crazy anymore, and they're trying to really work through a lot of issues of imposter syndrome. I know what I know, and I can stand strong in that, and you know, I can work well in a group, but I can stand strong all on my own. They're really working on their confidence, to speak and to not kind of cower away and allow their truth to be a little bit different. And again, the Divine Feminine energies, they're badass. They're like Terminators. It's a little bit like in Wonder Woman. Do you ever see Wonder Woman and it's like all the women are like these warriors? It's a little bit like that. That's part of the reason why they're coming off a little bit intimidating to the Divine Masculine collective. And the feminine energies, and again, this talks a lot about counterparts, which you know is not something I talk about, but they're putting it on my spirit to do it, so I have to be obedient because I try to avoid it. But it also talks about, again, the union between your Divine Feminine and Masculine energies within you. So, you know, just, you know, but the feminine energies, they're really upgrading and advancing and being promoted into higher levels of ascension and leadership than they've been in before. So there is an adjusting process to that as well for the feminine energy. So needing to make sure that you're not utilizing your own masculine energy in a toxic way, forgetting that you too need nurturing, and you too need rest, and you too need time to kind of scale back and integrate all of the new energies that you're taking on, because the Divine Feminines are upgrading into a higher caliber of their spiritual journey. But the purpose of it is to become better leaders to the rest of the collective, right? So a lot of what is going on with the Divine Feminine is that with this increase in confidence, with this increase in gifts and abilities and leadership roles and advancement, all of this stuff, is that they're also working through issues of pride and forgiveness. Because, you know, sometimes when you really start advancing and you're feeling really confident, that could vary. There's a fine line between confidence and ego, right? There is a fine line. So the feminine energies are really walking on a wire here. And also forgiveness, because a lot of what the Divine Feminines have been doing is they've had a hard time forgiving people in the past, just situations that happened to them, and they recognize the purpose that a lot of those situations and experience played in their journey. But there's still something about disconnecting from the narrative of that, and so there is some unforgiveness issues that are going on, which has just caused the Divine Feminines to move into higher levels of independence, right, and self-sufficiency and sovereignty, which is beautiful and it's amazing, and I'm here for it 8 days a week. But sometimes really high levels of hyper independence can come out as like a trauma response, right? I can't trust that I will be nurtured, I will be provided for, I will be taken care of, right? I will be in safe places. So I have to create what I'm calling our boundaries, but are really stone walls around me where I do everything by myself, right? And that comes out of a trauma response. So it's important for the Divine Feminines to also make room for the divine masculines. And this was the first download that I had pulled in was, what do they need a divine masculine for? They're their own divine masculine. And I was like, excuse me? Excuse me? And what my angels were telling me were basically that the feminine energies were so hyper independent, they didn't create any room for anyone to come in, divine masculine or otherwise, right? It's the idea of when you're carrying a bunch of groceries into the house, right? And someone's like, do you need help? And you're like, no, I'm fine. And meanwhile, you have bags all over your arms and they're cutting off your circulation. You're like, it's fine, I got it. When clearly you do need help, right? The feminine energies took the journey of independence, right, of breaking codependencies and all of that stuff, and they took it all the way to the other side, and now they have toxic independence in a certain aspect, right, which is them enacting a lot of their own toxic masculinity, right? So there's a need for the divine masculine to tap into their feminine energies and learn how to nurture themselves in a really authentic and spiritual way that they haven't done before, whereas the divine feminines need to tap into their masculine energy so that way they can balance those out in the practical. So it's the same, it's very much of a linear energy, but it's a little bit on two different spectrums. They're not quite on the same page as of yet, but they are kind of moving together little by little. But this is also why the divine masculines are having a hard time, because they are in a softer place. They are still coming into union with their own truth about who they are in this whole entire situation, that there's so much more, right, that they've been basically lied to their entire life about who they are and what they are and the way the world and energy actually works, and that they are powerful, spiritual, sovereign beings, and right, and that what they've been taught is masculine isn't really the truth, and they can redefine that for themselves, and it's really overwhelming. And then meanwhile, right, the inclination would be go to the divine feminine collective and ask for help and ask for support, but meanwhile the divine feminine energy is like, get your shit together, I've been woke. Like it's a little bit of that energy, right? So if there's a little bit of that MIA kind of happening, that's why, right? And I don't feel like the divine feminine is trying to be abrasive or trying to be standoffish or trying to be hyper independent or intimidating. I think that it's just they've just been through so much shit that they have all of these standards and they have all of these boundaries, right? Which again isn't a bad thing. That comes from self-worth, that comes from self-love, and that comes from creating safe places for yourself. But there is this issue, and this came up in the Pisces Monthly a little bit, there is this issue of pride a little bit, that wanting divine masculine energies to kind of come forward, but also not creating a safe place in which to kind of support them in their own journey, right? But feeling as though they're not quite on the DF level. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense to you, because that's kind of how they're giving it to me. For divine feminines, there's also a few spirit animals coming through, the hippo and the rabbit, both of which talk a lot about fertility. They talk about being kind of calm, right? And especially the hippo. The hippo talks a lot about motherhood, fertility, but also being really peaceful, being kind of serene, but also extremely alert. It's the same thing. Like, you ever see like a rabbit or a bunny just like sit in a yard? It looks really peaceful, it looks really serene, but it's also extraordinarily alert at the same time. It's about like keeping your wits about you, like knowing what's going on around you, but at the same time not allowing it to shake you, right? And that doesn't come from, oh, that's a hawk, okay, I see you, Mr. Jesus. And it doesn't come from a sense of I have to be super alert because I have to be like defensive around me against predators. No, it's just to be aware of your surroundings, be aware of what's going on internally as well, ways in which you may be projecting outwardly. Even for me, there have been plenty of times recently where I've had to been like, just my ego talking, like, am I being defensive right now? Are we being defensive right now, Lauren? And I was like, I am being defensive. Why am I doing that? Why do I feel that way? Like, and having to kind of deconstruct that emotion for myself. So that seems to be a lot of what's going on with kind of those two collectives individually, but also together. And then the second part of that is Uptown Girl. You guys know clairaudience is one of my strongest abilities, and the biggest way they communicate to me is always through music. And so they kept playing the Uptown Girl by Billy Joel, right? And one, it's a bop. It's been a bop, will always be a bop. But they kept having me watch the music video over and over again. And there's a line in it, Uptown Girl, like she's been living in her white breaded world, right? And it's like this conversation from the divine masculine to the divine feminine, almost like living in this white breaded world, like living in your ivory tower, like living at this peak of ascension, right? Like almost untouchable. And the thing is if you watch that music video, Billy Joel is a mechanic. and he's walking around this this car lot, this repair shop, and Christy, I think it's Christy Brinkley, she like rolls up in like a Rolls Royce, and she's got like the hat and like this fancy jewelry, and it's just like, peasants, don't touch me, right? It's like really cute. And Billy Joel is like running around this car lot, running around this repair shop, just like, I love you, like, please, like, you know, uptown girl, I can't afford to like buy you pearls, right? But, you know, I'll love you more than anything else. Like, I care more about you than anything else. It's really interesting. And so what that really, and this was confirmed by a prophetic message that I had seen from someone come out a little over a week ago, that the divine masculine, if and when he does appear, is probably going to come through much more humbly than expected. It's going to come in differently than expected, right? It's a little bit of that when Jesus rolled up on a donkey, right? Like, King of Kings, like savior of the people, and he rolled up on a donkey, an ass, like the lowliest of animals, right? It's like, for those of you that are more into the Christianity kind of belief system, it's expecting that, you know, you're gonna have like a Boaz rolling up when like really you're getting an Isaac, right? Like, there's like a middleman, like, let's see if you're gonna give, like, you know, my camel some water. Like, it's that kind of difference, that you may be expecting like whoever this is for you to come forward like perfect shit together, like money, like ascended, right? It's like, and that's not exactly it's not exactly like how they're gonna come through. They may come through a little bit more humble, like they may come through a little bit more lowly, like, and if you're too focused, right, on status, or like they have to have all their shit together, right? Because this is important too, that it's to realize that a lot of divine masculines, as they're deconstructing and reconstructing narratives and belief systems and their spirituality and who they are as a person, a lot of them are transitioning. A lot of them are shifting gears. Some of them may shift careers. They may move into different industries, realizing that what they've been doing for the last 20, 30, 40, 50 years, like it doesn't align with them anymore. So a lot of them may be going back to school, moving into different industries, moving into different jobs, moving different areas, right? To find a place that feels like a safe space for them to continue this ascension journey, right? So that's something to be mindful of too, because as the divine masculine is kind of rebuilding and restructuring, the feminine energy needs to come in and kind of support that, but also from a healthy boundary, because everyone's journey is so individualized. So again, as the divine feminines are kind of arising to these real leadership levels, it's also important that, you know, everyone has to do their own work. So to not overwhelm the divine masculine, like let him find his way, but be there and hold space, right? Really hold that positive space. And again, don't mistake, or how do I want to put it? Don't immediately call someone out, or just assume like that couldn't possibly be like my person. That couldn't be my lobster, my penguin, my ship. I like to call them ships, right? That couldn't be my ship because, right, they don't look the part. Sometimes you don't look the part, right? It's like, think about how expansive and ascended and magical you are, right? Just by looking at you, you just might look like another person at the grocery store. People might not know there's a whole cosmos living inside of you, right? So, and when I say the thing about the ship, they give me this image of like the divine feminines on like these big like cruise ships, like Titanic ships, whereas the divine masculines, it looks like they're almost coming on in like little buggies, almost, right? Like almost like little dingers. But if you like would look underneath the cabin, there's like riches and like glory, and like there's all of this good stuff, right? So pay more attention to, and this is good advice for everyone, the richness of someone's spirit, because someone may come forward and you might think that like they ain't shit, but in actuality, like they have the kind of soul, they're gonna bring the most peace in your life, they're gonna be able to build with you in the most authentic way, right? Like they really do have gifts of the spirit. They might not be able to buy you pearls, but together you could build and do that, right? So and the last thing I just have about that is that there is a new wave, again, ships and waves, there is a new wave of unions, or what I like to call them is ships joining a fleet. Again, if you guys want to know more of my stance on that and how I channel those energies, go watch that soul biosis science of soulmates video that I did around Christmas time, I believe. But there, you know, it comes in waves, right? So probably like a year and a half ago, you saw a lot more Okay. You saw a lot more twin flame, union, you saw a lot more of that. And then in the last like year or so, like you've seen it kind of dwindle out, right? Because people were getting sick of hearing about it. And it's because those waves weren't coming in. The waves had already gone back out. But now we're in a position that there's a new wave coming in. So you might start seeing an uptick in videos or readers or channel messages or things like that coming in about people coming into union and stuff like that. And it's a trickle effect. And, you know, whether or not you are on that wave right now, if you were on that journey, because some of you may not be on that journey. Some of you, this entirely might just apply to your internal divine masculine and divine feminine energies. So again, this is about knowing what season you're in. This is also about your discernment. So this is something that you need to sit on, you need to pray on, you need to go to your creator and ask if you are on this wave. Because if your wave is a year and a half from now, don't stress yourself out about it, right? You shouldn't stress yourself out, period. But again, there is a new wave coming in of ships coming into port, ships coming into a fleet, unions coming in, but it's up to you and your discernment and you connecting with your creator and your spiritual support team to find out if you are included in that wave. Because if you're not, all of this still applies to you, but it will just apply to you individually in the union of your own energies, right? So I have a couple more downloads, but I'm gonna give it a second. I'm gonna read some of these messages that you guys, because I could not see, so I can read a little bit of what you guys typed over here, and then we'll get into the next 2 pages. I have two more pages for you. Charlize is in the house. We got Dana. We got Jilly Bean. Different truths for today. Absolutely, Jillian. Absolutely different truths. The entire adult collective is reparenting themselves like 110%. Ariel. Cindy. Good, Cindy. You should rely on your sons more to help you. That's amazing. It is a good song. Billy Joel is really just slapping different. Charlize is so funny. Love to see some humble masculines. Yeah. The masculine energies that you're seeing that are not sitting in that like humble like energy, those are the ones that aren't truly awakened. They're still really living in the matrix. So again, you kind of can't fault them for what they do not know. Everyone's on a different awakening journey, right? You just know that those like aren't part of your soul tribe. Dawn, hi. I sent you a message on Messenger. Always in wonder and amazement. Oh, thank you so much. On Instagram Messenger. Humble masculines are here, just a big overhaul occurring for us. Many are alone in the sticks trying to find themselves and rebuild that spiritual container. Absolutely, 110% founders. Oh, I'm losing it. Been conscious of my feminine lately. Yeah. Well, Era, you naturally operate in a lot more of your masculine energy, just like me. If you look in my chart, I have a balance between feminine and masculine energies, but I sit more comfortably in my masculine energy, but that's also because of the way that I was brought up. So I had to learn to sit more in my masculine energy. So for me, it's always like it's always an experience trying to return back to my feminine, tap into my abundance, learn to rest, learn to receive. It's something that even I have to work on it constantly. Like the left side of my back's been hurting me for days, and I know I'm like, there's something I'm not allowing myself to receive. I don't know what it is, but help me, because I need help. How do you do that while still honoring yourself? Healthy boundaries. So often and this has been coming up in the weeklies last week too as well, about how so many of us, we've set standards and we've set boundaries and all of that stuff, which is good and it's amazing and that's exactly appropriate. But we also have to double check some of the boundaries, because I realized personally I had set up some boundaries, but what I really had put up were big stone walls so that way no one could get close enough to me to prove that they were a decent person and that they were going to show up and that they would reciprocate, right? So I was like, for me, this is my healthy boundary. But in actuality, I was putting up a stone wall so no one could get close enough to disappoint me. But at the same time, what I was also doing was creating a stone wall so no one could come in and pleasantly surprise me as well, right? And we have to remember that if, you know, if God's always going to take care of us and we always have the opportunity to learn and to heal and to return to center, then, you know, it takes some of the, well, I'm afraid of getting hurt. Well, I've fallen off my bike a million times. I'll get back up. I'll heal. I'll do the thing, right? This chat's going fast. Yeah, that's perfectly correct too, Kelly. Because again, you have to come into union with self and with the divine before you can come into union with anyone else, whether it's romantic, social, family. 5:55 a.m. I love the union within it feels amazing. Oh, good. Oh, good. I'm glad I answered your question. I'm learning my masculine, yeah. And a lot of the feminine collective has been carrying a lot of toxic masculine energy. Queen Cup she did a live stream not that long ago, and she was talking about her own like toxic masculine energy that she had to kind of put in check. And I realized that I had that too. I had that too, and it was something that I really needed to work on because I naturally sit in a lot of masculine energy. And I realized that a lot of it had spilled over into toxicity, right? Being controlling, like pushing myself too hard, being too critical, just little things like that, trying to hold myself to this like corporate capitalist standard, like all that shit. Like I needed to bring it down. So a lot of like this is like me in a sense, like, and my masculine energy coming into the truth, like all, you know, so it applies within as well. My back has been tense on the left side as well. Yeah, mine too. I flipped my mattresses. I flipped my mattresses because I was like, what is going on? Spinal rebuilding, new energetic foundations, connection points, repairing the new light body. Absolutely. Founders, you know what time it is. It's like right between my, like, it's like right where like my solar plexus is, right? Because I'm working on my confidence versus my pride. Kind of up into my like heart kind of area. Kelly Rose Russell said something about that too with the bones and the root chakra. Yeah, I've been seeing like a lot of reds, like reds and yellows, talking about that root being rooted, being grounded. Which is funny because that kind of goes into the next download that I have. Up and down your spine. Yeah, well, I think it might have been the live stream that I did for the Libra full moon. I was talking a lot about how we're so used to downloading information, channeled messages, guidance, all that stuff, when I feel as though there's a call to start uploading it, right? From the root up. Because sometimes I feel as a collective, we have, especially if you're on the spiritual journey, if you're here, right? If you're hanging out on the tarot channels and all of that kind of stuff, you have an overactive crown, which is why a lot of us are like hypersensitive, like we feel overwhelmed, like all of that kind of stuff, because we're taking in so much through the crown that it's almost as though the third eye cannot process it all at once. So it comes in like a drip. Does that make sense? It's like too much, so it comes in like a little bit as a drip, and then it's like trying to process these little drips while having a big container on top, and it's hard to make your truth out of that and figure out what needs to get rooted in your heart and what you can really gain that beautiful life force energy that the solar really talks about, and what you should and should not nurture to birth out through the base and then the root. So there has been since the Libra full moon, this call to really kind of upload information and downloads as opposed to download it, right? Bring it up through the root, have that thing immediately be addressed through trigger moments, fight or flight, abandonment. What are we going to stick to? What seeds are we going to plant in the ground? Okay, now that I have that, right, it's like a filtration system. Now let's see what I want to nurture. Now let's see what I want to kind of gestate and birth, because that's the thing that's going to bring me life energy and confidence. And those are the things that are going to make my heart sing. And I can express my truth, right, because it's already been processed through so much that I can make sense of my own truth now before I express it, right? Not speaking before we truly understand like the revelation that is upon us. And then we can see not only that truth, but all of the extenuating energies around it. Excuse me. Hello? Do you see this? Do you see this shit right now? Okay. There's some bullshit. Because I'm speaking some truth right now. I feel blurry. Am I blurry? I'm blurry on my computer. I hope I'm not blurry for you guys. All right. Hello? Hello? Everyone back? I don't know, there's some interference because I'm spitting some hot facts right now and something doesn't want me to be doing it. That's not my problem though. I'm just a servant. I'm just God's man out here trying to do my job, right? Just trying to do my duty. That is all. I'm blurry. Don't be blurry. Don't be blurry. Just be normal. Okay, so we're gonna get into the next download. This is another song that I got, which is interesting. They kept playing me that Cardi B song, if it's up, if it's up, if it's up, then it's stuck. And it's not the whole song. It's not the whole song at all, but it is. They kept playing just that one part. If it's up, then it's stuck. If it's up, then it's stuck. And I was like, that was so interesting to me. And I realized that it was talking about timelines, right? That it's like once we're able to get over the hurdle and really talking about that, root ourselves in the new timeline, then we're gonna be like stuck up there, right? Kind of like a pendulum. And there's a lot of you guys that you're dealing with a lot of challenges and you're dealing with a lot of obstacles and it's like barely getting by and like barely holding on and all of this stuff. And it was like really this word of encouragement that it's like once we kind of bridge this gap and really move forward into the new timeline and be able to like really set roots in there, right? So we're not constantly backsliding into the old timeline. Then it's not that you're not gonna have challenges or oppositions or bad days, because that's part of life, right? It's like there has to be a balance in the energy. But the extent, the intensity of the warfare, the weight of the challenges, the size of the obstacles and opposition, it's not gonna be the same moving forward as it is now or that it has been in the past for you. And really needing to detract yourself from that narrative like very, very strongly. And they kept giving me all this stuff about a pendulum. And they wanted me to do all this research about pendulums. And they kept giving me swing, almost like that, what's that, All-American Rejects, right? Because a lot of you guys feel like black sheep, which is funny. I'm just realizing that now, like, swing from the town of Zion. And there's this thing about how we're swinging to this new timeline. And it's like you can feel it, right? It's like you can really feel that it's like you're there, but at the same time, there is this like having difficulty like maintaining that upward trajectory, like feeling like you can like taste it, like you can touch it, but then it kind of like slips through your hands, like the good luck, the abundance. It's like it's kind of coming in like a little bit, again, like trickling, and then you kind of go back down into like another little slump. And because of that, it's about your equilibrium, right? Your equilibrium, your balance is a little bit off center, which requires you to, again, self-care, self-nurturing. You need to ground, you need to center, you need to balance. Grounding and centering are two different things. Center, you bring it all in. Grounding is you kind of push it down. You really root what you need to, allow what is excess energy, what doesn't belong to you, what isn't useful anymore, negativity, allow it to be transmuted. That's why we go outside, right? And a lot of the reason why we're having a hard time as a collective maintaining this equilibrium is because we're still holding on to the old narratives of the old timeline, right? It's that idea of always waiting for the other shoe to drop a little bit, right? Which is what we're used to, is like things are only good for so long and then some bullshit happens. And okay, I have a little bit of luck here, but then what's it gonna cost, right? It's things always kind of being given a little bit and then taken a lot of way. And again, that's the old timeline. That was the old karma that we were on. We're on new karma coming in. Yeah, I think it might rain here. There's like windstorms and there's like rain, and it's been strange here in New Jersey. But that's part of the thing that's getting us off our equilibrium. It's the idea of, I'm really excited, things are going really good, and then that thought, right? Because we're so used to things being uncomfortable that is our normal resting place. So when they seem like they're going good, things seem like the wheel of fortune is turning for you, there's that thought in the back of your mind that goes, well, something's gonna happen, something's gonna mess this up, something's gonna get taken away. Not comfortable being comfortable yet, not comfortable sitting in like positive abundance, sitting in a positive mindset, glass half full, because that's our minds. There's a reprogramming, a restructuring, again, that really needs to go on there, because when things are going good, immediately our mind goes, something must be wrong, something must happen, the shoe is going to drop, right? It's like something's going to happen, which then vibrationally shoves us right back into the old timeline, right? So there is a little bit of this push and pull. There is this little bit of the needing to have your faith bigger than your fears to kind of know everything's going well, needing to reprogram ourselves, those positive affirmations, really fight through that, because and this is what I found out in my research of pendulums contain a stable stable, centered, balanced, grounded amount of magnetic energy, right? And that is the combination of kinetic and potential energy. Kinetic energy is energy due to motion, right? Active energy. Masculine, divine active energy, and potential energy, right? What it could be, the visions of it, divine feminine, divine passive energy. And when they combine, that is really when you have this equilibrium of balance coming in. So to fully swing into the new timeline, it's going to require all of us to tap into the frequency of the potential energy, the vision, what you were told, what you were promised, the vision that they gave you for these breakthroughs and the things that you're going to have, and then combine it and root it down, right, with the kinetic energy, which is the actions that you take, the faith in motion step, right? Making healthy choices, following your guidance, not just letting it sit there, expanding the comfort zone. There's also this whole thing about we're not stepping outside of our comfort zone, we're expanding our comfort zone, because when you try something that normally wouldn't be in your bag of tricks, kind of like what I'm doing right now, right? I'm not stepping outside of my comfort zone, I'm pushing the line of it, I'm expanding it so I'm more comfortable with more experiences, right? Beginning projects, like different things like that, right? And that's kind of brings back to that when it's up, then it's stuck. Like once we're rooted in the new timeline by really challenging that voice inside of our head when things are going well and going, no, it's not, something's gonna happen, there's no way that things could stay like this, by challenging that, right, with not only holding the potential of the vision through that positive vibration, holding that space, right, for the potential, while also combining it with action, right? Again, divine feminine and divine masculine energies within you coming into union. Then we can really root ourselves in the new timeline and stop feeling like it's always slipping through our fingers and we're consistently backsliding, right? And again, it's not that there won't be bad days or there won't be challenges. Like, that's life, right? That's the facts of life. You take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have. But it's about coming out of survival mode. We need to come out of survival mode. They did give me a couple of crystals, which is unusual, but I was looking for a pendulum. And these two crystals flew out, and I do believe that if you guys like crystals, or you work with crystals, they might be useful to you. Now again, my PSA about crystals. Crystals are not more powerful than you. Crystals are not more powerful than God. They are a tool just like anything else. They can be used as a tool, as a resource to help you harness certain energies, but they're not more powerful than you, and they're not more powerful than God. But one of them was azurite in granite, which is good for flow, and it's good for really harnessing the energies of good fortune and success, advancement, and awareness. Awareness is really important. And then the other one was rainbow aura quartz. I don't know if you can really see, you can maybe see a little bit. The little rainbow. Yeah, exactly, Cindy, just like tarot. And this stone is really good for removing blockages and like balancing out your chakras, quieting the mind, calming erratic emotions, right? Because as you're trying to move, your shadow, your ego has to ascend with your higher self. It cannot be left in the dust, right? It has to ascend with you, and your ego and your shadow is scared because it knows how to protect itself. It knows how to defend itself in the old timeline. And moving into the new, it doesn't know what to expect. So it's having a little bit of a hissy fit. So this will help calming those erratic emotions, and it'll allow you to access more positive energy. Side note with this crystal, it can also make it easier for you to astral project, have out-of-body experiences. So if you are someone that is already doing a lot of astral travel and you don't want to be, this is not a stone I would use, or at the very least, not while you're sleeping. This would be like a daytime stone. I would go more with the azurite and granite stone or other grounding stones, because I know some of you don't want to be astral projecting. Some of you don't want to be slipping into the collective unconscious all the time when you're sleeping, right? So this probably wouldn't be the nighttime stone for you, because I know a lot of you guys like to sleep with them. If that is the case, I would use a stone like stillbite, which is good against warding against like bad dreams and things like that. Helps protect you when you're sleeping and you're a little bit more vulnerable. I would combine a stillbite stone with this granite stone. If that is not a problem for you, or if that's something that you're into and you want to explore a little bit more, then these are a good combination to use together. Very good? Very good. Let me check these messages, and then we'll just go into the last download that I have. Celestia, it's beautiful. Angel Aura Quartz. I used to sleep with those a lot. Am I still blurry on your end? I'm still blurry on my end. I am a spiritual DJ. I always say that they're like Casey Kasem up there. It's like Grand Bandstand. That's right, Charlize. No weapon formed against us shall prosper. They didn't say they wouldn't make the weapons. They just said that they wouldn't get very far. I send you what I get. Not always, but mostly any pics from the sky, seeing, smells, and hearing student. Yeah, I love your sky pictures. Windstorms making it hard. Is this timeline shift happening in June? I feel like it's going so close, but there. Oh, that's beautiful that you mentioned that, Ariel. Is it happening in June? There is. I feel like we're already in it. I feel like we're already in the new timeline, but we keep trying to like slip back into the old one, which is why there's all these conflicting feelings, right? It's like kind of needing a little bit to pick a side of the fence. But May 13th is when Jupiter goes into Pisces, and it's a 2-month transit. So between now and July, I think, because Jupiter is an expander, we're going to see a lot of advancement. We're going to see a lot of shifting. Pisces rules fantasies and dreams, and, you know, it's like all like dream bigger than the sky, kiss the moon. It's that kind of energy. So in those sectors of your life, and particularly whatever placement you have Jupiter in your chart, that's where you're going to see the most expansion between now and July. Something significant about June. That's what Reem has been saying about the rubber band and the archer. Ready for the pendulum swing. Yeah. And that's the thing about the archers too. What does an arrow do? It has to go back in order for it to go further, farther, faster. It is fight or flight after living so long. It takes work to shift the flow. Absolutely. This is part of doing the inner work, is when that voice pops up in your head, survival mode, you have to go, no, I am safe. I am sovereign. I am supported. I am loved. I am guided, right? And what do they say? You have to do something like 21 times before it becomes a habit, right? It's shifting the comfort place. That part of the expanding the comfort zone is moving into more positive mind frame. Feminine, masculine energies, creating a new timeline, merging of the mind and heart. Absolutely. Body, mind, and soul. 2 pendulums. I should reconnect with them. Yep, just make sure they're cleansed. As all tools, as I always like to say, all tools, resources, energy flows in and out. So they can become corrupted. If you ever use a tarot deck and you're like, somebody's talking shit in this tarot deck and I don't know what's going on, the energy feels off. Could be corrupted. Same thing, pendulums can get corrupted. Crystals, corrupted. So you need to make sure that you are cleansing them. You're praying over them, right? You're centering them with your higher self and the divine, and then go ahead and use them. I'm drawn to crystals. Yeah, I love crystals. I got so many crystals back there. It is crazy. They used to call me the crazy crystal lady. Azurite necklace from a lady in Ukraine. Ooh. Selenite is good. Selenite is beautiful. Selenite under your pillow. Yeah, oh yes, the full moon on the 26th is in Sagittarius, and it is an eclipse. That is going to be like a really happy-go-lucky full moon. I'm very excited for that. My moon is in Sagittarius, though, so you might not see me. You might not see me that day. Aw, thanks, Palmer. Wasn't sure if I should come because I don't have anyone. Maybe DM is coming for me. We'll have to rewatch. Yeah, I mean, why not? I believe that there's someone for everyone. And it also talks about the divine masculine energy within you, too. Never stood timelines until a former coworker came over and was telling me about her new job. In that moment, I could feel a new timeline. Yes, absolutely. Jupiter in Pisces, natal. Oh, wow, your Jupiter is in Pisces. Oh, that's going to be a big time for you. Ooh, that's exciting. Oh, wow, Shirley, it's so exciting. Oh, congratulations, amazing. Sam from Scotland, hi. Beautiful. Nice to have you. Yeah, 100%. Cleanse, cleanse, cleanse. Your sons roll their eyes when you get new crystals. That's so funny. Yeah, well, you know what? The last couple times I tried to go to the crystal shop, they were closed. I was real sad. I wanted to get more tourmaline. But, you know, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? I ended up going to the thrift shop across the street and getting a romper. So, all right. Let's see. We got one more download. And then this one's pretty simple. It's a little intense, but it's pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward. Fraggle Rocks. That's hysterical. I used to watch that when I was little. Yeah, well, that makes sense, Cindy, that the divine masculine and feminine readings make more sense from an internal perspective, because you harness both those energies, right? And so you have to come into union with yourself and then union with the divine in order for you to come into union with anyone else, whether it's community, whether it's an industry, whether it's a lover, whether it's a friend, family, like all of that stuff, which is why oftentimes we're kind of separated from people when we're restructuring and rebuilding inside, right? She wants me to see if it's not girl like I did before. Ooh, I don't know. Sometimes it's fun to leave it a mystery, right? Sometimes it's fun to leave it a mystery. So, last download for the bees. Blockages in your breakthrough. This has to do a little bit of your masculine energy, being a little controlling, being a little bit frustrated, because again, part of this is these all connect together. That you feel frustrated because, again, you see the breakthrough, you taste the breakthrough. It's like it's right there, but it feels like it keeps slipping out of your fingers and you're not really sure why. And the main reason, if I'm going to be super honest with everyone, because I had to have this come into Jesus moment with myself too, is that as a whole, we've become more obsessed with the gift than the gift giver. Let that sink in for a second. We are more obsessed with the gift than the gift giver, right? It's, we idolize the breakthrough. We idolize the relationship. We idolize the money, right? More than ourselves and our relationship with God and what that does for us. And as we know, God does not like idolatry. And as we also know, resentment blocks the flow of abundance, right? Unforgiveness blocks the flow of blessings. And I downloaded that and I was writing that down on the paper, and I actually heard some of you guys saying, but I forgave that person. Like, I forgave that situation. Like, I forgave this. I forgave that. But here's my question. Did you forgive God? I'm not saying God's in the wrong, but there is this energy of resentment against the divine that you're withholding from me. You said this and you didn't do it. You're making me wait so long. I don't understand. Why are you giving me divine detours? Which, again, they're valid feelings and they're valid emotions, right? To be disappointed or to not understand or to be confused, right? Like that's okay. But again, part of the intimacy that you build with the divine, with your spiritual support team, is about having these conversations. I'm confused. I don't understand. I am disappointed. I'm not going to shame myself for that, but I would also like support in dealing with those emotions, right? Help me understand. Give me more clarity. Give me more patience. I know I can't lean on my own understanding, but like, can you help me out a little bit here? A lot of the collective is feeling resentment and unforgiveness with the spiritual process, with God, with the angels, right? And even though maybe you've forgiven your ex, or you've forgiven people in your family, or forgiven your ex-boss, or your friends, or people around you, there's a sense of needing to have released that when it comes to God. That's like that's heavy, like a little bit. Like when I really channeled that, I was like, whoa, I was like, we really do like be mad. We are mad, some of us. Like, hey, God, like, why are you doing this to me? It's that kind of energy, as opposed to thinking, okay, what is this doing for me? And really needing to release that resentment, because it is blocking the flow of abundance. And again, it is your creator, however you define that for yourself. And so you can have a conversation, right? It's about building intimacy. I'm disappointed, I'm frustrated, I'm confused, like help me through this process, right? And they will support you through that process, so that way you can come to a greater place of peace, right? And it's not that. I know some of these breakthroughs and these things these promises that we're waiting on, we're counting on, right? And it's not just you, like it's me too. Like I got promises in the work that I'm waiting for, right? I'm trying to prepare and align with at the same time, right? But some of these things are wants, and some of these things are legitimately their needs. Like you need them, right? But it cannot become an idol. It cannot be cling to at the expense of your peace. It cannot be cling to at the expense of your appreciation for what you already have going on for you in your life, right? An attitude of gratitude breeds abundance, what you already possess, all the good things that are already happening for you. Because if you're always, and we talked about this a little bit when I did that dual live stream with Rob. like a week or so ago, and we were talking about kind of chasing the carrot, right? And if you're always chasing the carrot, then you're never content with what you actually have. And happiness and contentment and peace and joy, it's always outside of you. It's always in another place, and you can't have it here until that thing shows up. And that's not true, right? And so really needing to, again, really confront and deconstruct that narrative, and reconstruct a new one that is healthier, that is more helpful in creating peace and love and prosperity in our lives, right? And this is how we truly step into conscious co-creation, right? It's not just, this is what you showed me, and this is what you told me, and this is what you promised me was going to come to pass. It's that, but also combined with, okay, but what do I do on my end? I believe that you're going to do this, right? I believe it so I can receive it, but what do I do on my end, right? Do I need to be more active? Do I need to participate more? Do I need to plan differently, schedule differently, put in more physical effort, right? Do I need to rest, right? Because some of you guys, it's you need to put in more physical effort. You need to show up and be more on top of the ball. For others of you, it's like, hey, you need to fall back. I'm sorry for that. Oh wow, someone's actually outside. You know, for some of you, it's no, you gotta fall back. It's like you have to rest, you have to recharge, so that way you have the space in order to put yourself in a higher vibration, work through those narratives, gain that higher, more positive perspective. Glass half full, right? Some of you, it's about starting projects that maybe you put off. So for a lot of you, it's about spending more quality time with the divine, with your guides, with your angels, right? So that way you can build that intimacy, so you can have a greater connection and thereby have greater clarity, have less anxiety, feel more supported, right? So it's going to be different for all of you. It might be a combination of all of it, but it's not just, this is what you said you were going to do for me, where is it? It's like, okay, this is what you said you were going to do for me. What do I need to do? Again, taking also more accountability to align myself with that, right? Do I need to show up? Do I need to do more? Do I need to do less? Like, whatever it is for you. Again, it's going to be different for all of you, but it's interesting because by working through this, you end up sitting in the higher of the pendulum, which allows you to come into greater union with yourself and thereby with other people, perhaps even a counterpart energy. So while these are all different downloads, they are all exactly the same. Yeah, guarding the soul, absolutely. Let me scroll. Let me see what you guys are saying up here. So that's pretty much the gist. That's the gist of all the stuff that I received for you today. And I was sitting on it for a minute, but I felt important to get it out for today. Let's see. Absolutely. Everything happens as it's meant to be. And, you know, I keep saying this to people. It feels like you're waiting. It's really that you're being gifted and blessed with more time to prepare for whatever it is. So you're not overwhelmed by your blessing. So that way you don't self-sabotage it. So that way you don't, like... Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense to you. Everlong, I'm so sorry. Resentment for the experience, because it has been hard and it has been really challenging. It's been really challenging for me. I get it. That's why I would say I never preach from a hill. Like, I'm in the trenches with you guys. Like, I really am, right? There's things I'm like Jack Johnson. I've been sitting, waiting, wishing for, absolutely. And there have been plenty of times that, like, I've been really resentful of my job. I'm like, why is it so hard? And when I did that encouragement video, I forget what it's called. I did it a couple weeks ago. I think it was called Faith Check. What the analogy that they used was like a character in a story, right? You've never read a great American novel, a great novel, right? And everything went super well for the main character. No, there was challenges, there were oppositions. They finally get to a point where they think everything's cool, and next thing you know, boom, shitstorm, and they gotta persevere, and right? It's like a real rags to riches kind of story, because that is your testimony. That is your testimony. Oh, thank you, Violet Sky. Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you. But it's really a part of your story, your life story, your future biography. It would be incredibly boring unless, you got to slay dragons, right? And I had to put that in perspective for myself as well, and have a moment where I looked back to my childhood and all of the crazy shit that had happened to me between then and now. And then, like, I realized, I had a moment where I was like, look at all the stuff that's happened to me. Look at all the stuff that I've been through. I've been through some crazy stuff. Like, if I told you the story of my childhood, you wouldn't even think it was real. You would think that I made it all up. But it's really what happened to me. Like, an inordinate amount of crap for, like, one person. But then I also looked at it from another perspective, and I thought, wow, Ain't nothing can kill me but the good Lord himself. Nothing can put me in the ground except for God himself. I was like, I am destined for greatness. And this has been something that I've been saying to myself a lot. I've been like, look at my life. I'm destined for greatness. Confirmation. It was like all the stuff that I've been through, that I survived as a kid, as an adolescent, as a young adult, everything that got me here. Who's gonna stop me? Who is gonna stop me? Ain't nobody. Most especially not myself. No way. I don't look at that stuff now and go, oh, look what happened to me. It was like, look how badass I am. Look how favored I am. Blessed and highly favored, because a lot of the shit that I've been through, that would have taken a lot of people out. But somehow, kids still kicking, better and stronger than ever, right? And needing to take that perspective, and that was a lot of me doing the inner work. That was a lot of me deconstructing my own story and redefining it for myself, so it was in a greater alignment with the way God sees me and God sees my story. Cindy, you didn't have to call us out like that. I'm so sorry. I got called out too. I am part of the collective. As a hand on my head, keep me from moving. Feel as though I'm doing more. What spirit says yourself? Sometimes the most productive thing that you can do is nothing. You probably fall into the category where, you probably fall into the category where, the one day, well, it's like 80 degrees today in Jersey, so it's a good day to do it. You probably fall into the category, like I was saying before, that the most important thing for you to do is to rest, so that you've been through a lot of stuff, and to rest and recuperate and recharge your energies and allow yourself, because sometimes we fall into that lower vibration, right? We fall into more pessimism, negativity, and cynicism. A lot of times it's just because we're tired. We just need to chill out. We need to rest. We're overworking ourselves, even if it's just stress, right? Rest is a peace of mind. It's not always like a physical action, right? It's like, even when I was writing down all these downloads, technically I was working, but I was at a place of rest doing it, right? So for you, the most productive thing that you might be able to do right now is just do nothing. Just chill out, raise the vibe, take care of yourself, self-nurture, self-love, right? For others of you that have been doing a lot of that, the most productive thing you could probably do is like get your little booties in gear, right? So it really depends. That's why everyone's journey's differently. If you're active now, you gotta rest later. If you're resting now, you gotta be active later, and then it'll flip. They'll put the thing down, they'll flip it and reverse it. And after you get done being super active, they'll have you pull it back in. They do that to me all the time. They'll be like, okay, you're gonna get a bunch of stuff done. I'm like, all of that stuff? They're like, all of that stuff. I'm like, I don't think I can. They're like, sure you can. I'm like, okay. So then I'll do it. And then they're like, okay, rest. And I'll still be in active mode because I'll be so used to going and doing. And they're like, no, Lauren, like, pull it back, chill it out. I'm like, okay. And then I'll get used to like being in the relaxed, like kind of passive mode. And they're like, okay, time to get up. I'm like, all right. So it's about needing to be adaptable, flexible, reachable, teachable. It's the journey, not the prize. Oh, thanks, Amy. Me and Rob had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun doing that live stream. I think we're gonna do another one soon. It's like really fun to do that. I really enjoyed it. I'm so happy he asked me to. You wanna hang out with me on TikTok? You can't find me? I'm at the Untitled Tarot. Just Untitled Tarot. That's all. I might have a hyphen or an underscore. I might have an underscore, but it's just at Untitled Tarot. I'm having so much fun on TikTok. I love TikTok so much. I really do. Destined for greatness. Like, what? I know this lawnmower is crazy. Yeah. And I just remind myself, like, even on times when I don't think that I'm like doing that well, or then I think I'm like, to someone else, like, I am living their dream life right now, right? When I feel like I'm in like the pit, when I'm at like my lowest and I'm not successful and I'm not getting anywhere, I think, there's someone out there that's looking at me and I'm like living their best life right now. So it's like, again, it makes you have more appreciation for where you're at. Sometimes you have to look back a little bit to see how far you've come and put it in perspective. Discomfort does not mean punishment, right? Sometimes it's growing pains. Sometimes it's growing pains. Cappy, yep. I got a lot of Capricorn placements. I got a lot of Capricorn placements. The moon's moving from Capricorn to Aquarius. I think that's why they wanted me to do this now. Because as soon as, yeah, do you see this? Like, because as soon as the moon moves into Aquarius, I'm like a total space cadet. I'm like not even here. Like the lights are on, but like no one's home. The last time the moon was in Aquarius, I ran through a red light. Like I don't do good with an Aquarius moon. I really don't. Thanks. Thanks, Dana. Yeah, we had a lot of fun. We had a whole lot of fun doing that live stream. We're gonna do another one soon. I'm gonna see if he wants to do one for the new moon. Bless me. For the Taurus new moon. And it's fun to get like the two perspectives of it. Aw, thank you, Dana. You're so sweet. I love the Pink Peony Oracle. Girl gotta start posting some more readings. That's what you need to do. I thought you like disappeared off the face of the earth because I hadn't seen you in like the live streams and I hadn't seen you on the videos. I didn't really see you that much on Instagram either, but I figured you were just busy, baking, living your best life. Thanks, Cindy. True. You see progress when you look back and not necessarily the moments. Absolutely. Absolutely, right? I think about that all the time. I'm like, there are times where I'm like, I am not as successful as I want to be right now. And then I think back to the last year and a half of my life and I'm like, who can do what I did in the last year and a half? Ain't nobody. It's like, look at this. Look how blessed and highly favored I am. Super blessed and highly favored. There's a lot going on in the vid right now. In my vid right now? Like other than the lawnmower? Oh, you've been in France? That's so fun. Is there a lot going on back here that I don't know about? This light apparently was flashing in one of the full moon, the Element by Design reading. Someone was like, the flashing lights are back. I had to watch it back and I was like, look at you guys messing with this light. No. I'm not the same person that I was this time a year ago. This time last year, I had only had my channel for like not a month and a half. This time last year, I had my channel for a month and a half. And I had, I think I had 8 subscribers. I think I had like something like 8, maybe 10 subscribers. San was my first subscriber. My sister, my friend Alexis, my friend Jamie. There's, what? You know what I mean? So it's times when I'm like, I'm not where I want to be. I'm like, shut up, Lauren. Like, you're slaying the game. You are reinventing. You're doing so much right now. Be nice to yourself. And I'm like, you're right. Charlize, yeah. Oh, did you? I have to go check. Sometimes if you don't post, they won't throw you in the algorithm. The lawnmower, the siren, the sneeze. I know. It's a lot. I know. My tribe. My bees. My baby bees. It's real exciting. It's really exciting. So yeah. So let me say. I just want to reiterate the updates. I know there's just there's just a lot going on. It's allergy season. It's a lot. But to reiterate the updates from before, Taurus, your birthday monthly reading is live on the YouTube. It went up yesterday. I got a very good response from that video, so I'm very happy because it's a really good reading. For those of you on the Bumblebee tier, on the Patreon, all of the May monthly readings are posted. They are there. For those of you that aren't on the Patreon, the Bumblebee tier has all of the monthly readings for all the signs, plus access to the Honeybee tier, which has all of the extended readings for all of the weekly zodiac readings I do here on YouTube. I am in the process of setting up a Vimeo because I know some of you guys only want your extended readings, or for a lot of you guys in India, you're having a hard time getting access to the Patreon for some reason, or some of you guys just want your monthly reading. So for those of you that are interested in kind of that, like, just one and done kind of thing, I am setting up a Vimeo in the next few days where you'll be able to have access to all of the monthly videos and all the extendeds and stuff like that, in case you guys aren't like on the Patreon vibe. But for those of you that are Patreons, I love you guys so much. I'm so grateful. I'm happy I got all the monthlies out very quickly. Yeah, but Everlong, you're like the Jeffersons. You're moving on up. Everyone should go check out Everlong's channel, the Pink Peony Oracle's channel. The Luminous Warrior Witch too. She's one of the bees, and she's really been active on her YouTube channel, and she's doing really good stuff. Like I always say, I read for very gifted and talented, intuitive people, right? It's like you guys all have your channels. You guys are all doing really, really good work. Well, that's how you start. You gotta start at the beginning and then work your way up. I can't tell you how many videos I filmed. I filmed hundreds of videos before anyone paid any really like attention to me, and that's okay because it's part of the process, right? Some of that stuff came up in the monthly readings too. Yeah, there's a lot going on, Cindy. That's why you gotta center and bring it back on in. Bring it back on in. Luminous Warrior Witch. Yeah. She has an Instagram and she's doing YouTube videos. She's on TikTok. She's everywhere. She's doing a really good job. I did a reading for her and I was like, girl. She's like, okay. She does a lot of stuff with runes too. I'm like really interested in runes right now. And so she combines tarot with runes, and it's really awesome. So it's really fun. All of you guys are so good. Everlong is good. Pink Peony Oracle. Ariel's doing her soul mana on Instagram, which is really good. Like, I love it. It's like the bees have left the hive and you're making your own honey, and it's good stuff. It makes me really happy and excited, like a big nerd. I'm like, they're doing it, everybody's doing it. I get so excited. Runes are super cool. I'm super into runes. I also have a lot of like Celtic, like Scottish, like Welsh ancestry, so I think might be like an ancestral thing that I really like, the runes. But yeah, so that's what I have for you guys. Put it on here for a little bit. So those are all the downloads that I have for you guys. Those are the updates that I have for you guys, for the Patreon and the Vimeo and everything else. Bookings are open for this week. If you are interested in a personal reading, I do the 30-minute, the 60-minute, and I'm doing personalized monthly readings now, where we go through the 4 weeks of the month for you, plus the new moon and the full moon and how they're going to affect you. So far, they're going really good. I'm having a lot of fun with the personal monthly readings. I'm having lots of fun, but I do them Monday through Saturday. So bookings are open now. If you're interested in that, just hit me up on Instagram, slide in my DMs, or just email me at untitledtarot@gmail. And other than that, I think I'm done, guys. I want you to go and have a beautiful Sunday, or Monday, or Wednesday, whatever day it is. You decide what day it is. You know, time's an illusion. So, I love you guys very much. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you, Violet Sky, for the donation. I very much appreciate it. And as always, you stay prayed up, and you stay blessed, and you stay sweet, and I will see you tomorrow. Goodbye.